Hello, everybody who's joining us. I'm Nic Harcourt, and I'm talking to a couple of my favorite people who are also artists. I respect the work they do. One of them, oh, he's back. Josh is back, who records and releases music under the name Mondo Cozmo. We've got Gizzle with us. You can't see her, but you can hear her. And then we've got Chris Pierce with us. So first of all, I'm happy because I get to see three of my favorite people together in a panel. And what I really wanted to do with this conversation was to, bring three creative people into a space where we could talk about what it's like creating today. Independent artists have really had the opportunity, I think, in the last few years to take a little bit more control of their destiny. Obviously, when distribution was removed from the hands of the major record labels, when that filter was taken away, it opened up the world to a lot of musicians to be able to, make and release their own music on their own terms. At the same time, of course, promoting and marketing is something that still needs to be taken care of, whoever is releasing the music. So I wanted to sort of engage each of you on that, but also to talk about this moment, both culturally and clearly from all of us living under a world pandemic and the restrictions that puts on artists' abilities to support themselves. Because in recent years, artists have spent a lot more time on the road perhaps than they used to, because that's where you can make a buck. Maybe I could start with Josh, Mondo Cozmo. You and I only met a couple of years ago, but I met you musically probably 12 or 13 years or so ago, and you've had a couple of musical projects before Mondo Cozmo, and I know you've got a new album out. And what's it been like getting ready to release an album these last couple of months?
It's been intense. There was a lot of talk about pushing it back to the fall. And I was just like, nah, everybody's at home making a classic record right now. Let's get it out before. I just think there's going to be such an influx of amazing music coming out. Because, historically, I don't remember a time anybody didn't tour. This is nuts. But yeah, it was really tough. And it was tough with the pandemic, getting people to buy T-shirts when they're struggling to pay rent. I hate that. I hated trying to promote, the single when the Black Lives Matter movement was happening. I felt really odd about that. It's been really, really difficult. But I think just trying to be honest and just trying to be authentic with your social media and how you engage with people has been a real learning curve for me. So I have valued that learning and experience, I guess. Before
I bring in Chris and Gizzle, I just want to follow up on that, because I follow all of you on Instagram. And I've seen you, Josh, very, very busy in the last couple of weeks getting ready to send the music out to the fans. And I've seen you laying out huge swathes of paper, signing notes to everybody who's bought a CD from you.
Yeah.
Taking a Polaroid photograph of your dog, Cosmo.
It was a terrible idea. I have so many photos to take. This is so dumb. If there's one piece of advice I can give, don't do that.
Don't take a photo forever. It's costing you a fortune in Polaroid.
Oh my God, I had no idea.
Right. But you're engaging your audience directly.
Yeah.
That's got to feel good.
That does. And I wouldn't be able to do that if I was on tour, which we would definitely be. We'd be on tour all year long, which, I'm missing that. But it has been cool to kind of be like, all right, if you spend your hard-earned money to buy the vinyl, I am going to write you a dumb letter on my typewriter, and I'm going to take a picture of my dog. And so, I was surprised. People were like, yeah, that's the poor guy's typing on a typewriter. I'm gonna buy a record. You know what I mean? So it's work. It's been nice. But like I said, that is different because there's no way I'd be able to do this if I was on tour.
But you're also working without a record label this time, right? Like you're not signed to a big record label. It's an independent release.
I'm signed to a label called Last Gang, and yeah, I've been, since you've been playing me since I was a kid, I've been signed to major labels. So this is the first time I've been signed to an indie, and it's been really great. They don't try to mess with anything. They're just like, what do you want to do? Let's make that vision happen. So it's been really great, and I don't think I'll ever go back to a major situation.
Every single night I watch the evening news and wonder if the cards are really stacked, if they're coming from the dealer, if the drinks are truly free and the odds are in my favor. Someone gotta go get the Maya, yeah, cut it up, it's Friday night, and in my experience, yeah, the timing's right, yeah, let's cut it up, it ain't my fault, it's a love song, girl, come turn it up, yeah, everything is upside down.
So Gizzle, you and I met for the first time just a couple of years ago.
Yes.
And I will tell you now that it was one of my favorite parts of having to be in Anaheim for 3 days for the NAMM convention. And I go down there and get hired to speak to people, obviously. And I'd never met you, and I did a little research on you, obviously, before we met. And I found you to be such an engaging person because you're so direct, you're so clear in where you come from and how that informs what you do today. So what are you doing today? How are you making and creating music today? And I know you do a couple of different things. How are you pivoting between those things?
For me, starting as, I went from being an artist to being a writer to getting back into my artistry now. It's been like 4 years, I believe. It's always been kind of like a struggle to kind of balance my songwriting career and then my artist career. But nowadays, I'm just really kind of hyper focused on, my own career because it's, there's been many opportunities afforded to me through the independent route and just the climate itself. In addition to COVID, but just as we started to see the industry shift with streaming, in the past few years. So what I'm working on now is just like fine tuning my vision and my message. I think it's really important at this time to be clear about that because we have an opportunity to affect people, like in a major way and in a meaningful and substantial way. And so I just want to make sure that anything that I put out, that the message is clear about, what side I'm on and how I feel. And I always err on the side of positivity, and unity and, and justice and just the opportunity for everybody to be able to express themselves. Like individuality is important for me. So right now I'm just trying to make sure my music reflects that and, enjoying the freedom that comes with being an independent artist and having, that choice to of the art that's out there and represents me.
I know you mentioned that, you also work with other people and you write for and with other people.
Yes.
So I'm guessing there is an income stream that comes from that. What about?
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, I guess there is an income stream that comes from that, or if you get paid, on a one-off deal or whatever it is. But what about ongoing income during these days? How are you able to continue to promote your music and make a living?
Well, like I do a lot of work. I mean, thankfully, I feel blessed. Even through COVID, I've done a ton of sync work in the TV and film industry, just in the previous years and even now. While it has gotten slower, that is a very great source of income for me, and it's been pretty steady. Also, you know, my royalties. I've been a songwriter for over 10 years, so my royalties pretty much they handle everything that I need to. And I've made some investments, honestly. I have a couple of businesses. I have a studio in LA. I have another business that I'm a partner in LA. It's a grill and like dental hygiene business, and those things are doing well. I think as an independent artist, because you know, and then I don't tour as often as most artists do. I think it's important, you know, not just for myself but for everybody to kind of diversify, you know, their portfolio, so to speak. And you know, and don't put your eggs all in one basket, and really to, you know, be smart with your money. I made a lot of mistakes in my early career, so I'm now like at a point where, you know, I could keep the money, spend the money, save the money, you know, and then create, you know, and generate more money with new projects, you know.
Do you see yourself as an entrepreneur?
I think so. I wish I was like, I mean, I really only see myself as Gizzle, you know that, Nick. Like, so, but I think, you know, I'm definitely business minded. I'm very hands on with my business. I think when people say entrepreneur, it seems like, oh, I wake up, I grind 24/7, no sleep and all that. Nah, like you know, my number one focus is, you know, being a supreme human being, the best person I could be every day. So that's the only thing I'm like super serious about. But I think because I do put effort into that, like bringing my best self to everything, you know, I'm able to capitalize off opportunities and make them go my way. So one day when I see myself a little bit more like as an adult, I guess I'll call myself an entrepreneur.
You know you can't see me, you know better than that. You know you can't beat me, you know better than that. Oh, nah. Hold that down. Slow down. Nah, not right now. Oh, nah. Oh, nah. Slow that down. No, not now.
Let me bring Chris into the conversation. Chris, you know, I don't know when I met you first, 10 or 12 years ago, something like that, perhaps. Chris has been gigging around town for a while, and like a lot of musicians, he's had to be dexterous and pivot. I know you've been involved with television as well. Yeah. It's a great opportunity for any artist, songwriter, performer, if they're able to have their work used in commercial broadcasting or movies. But you know, at the heart of it, I mean, to me, you're a soul singer. I mean, you're a blues singer, you're a soul singer, and a songwriter, obviously. And most recently, you put out a song right as the protests after George Floyd's murder were beginning to gain some traction. You put out a song, and we've been using a little bit of the video of it before this.
Woke up this morning, saw that smoke up in the sky. A crowd of people watching, asking who and how and why. Flames are rolling down the city, rolling for a mile. How'd it get so bad, you ask? It's been burning for a while. You say it's in the eye of the beholder. Well, I'll just go and check. Now that ain't no chip up on my shoulder. That's a boot up on my neck. How these flames go so far, you ask? Now they've gone 1,000 miles.
I want you to talk, first of all, a little bit about that song, where it came from. Did you have it all ready to go, or was it written in the moment? Were you an artist reacting to the moment in time?
Yeah, it was. Thanks for asking that question, Nick. It was something that definitely came in the moment, and you know, I feel like that, along with other songs I've been writing, they come from, for me, compartmentalized feelings that have been somewhere way deep down, and I think that, you know, as the years have passed by and different things have happened, not only to me but people I know, and then seeing things happen on the media, and then feeling lucky to be alive. We do what we can to survive, and we kind of put those feelings somewhere. And I feel like when this moment for social justice was happening in such a powerful way, and people were responding to, the deaths of Ahmaud Arbery and Breonna Taylor and George Floyd. I feel like these feelings all kind of came up like a fountain, and the song has been burning for a while. Was kind of a response, I think, to the folks that come on to the movement and fight, and when it's popular, and when social media is talking about it, and when people have signs on their front yards, they're fighting for it, and then it kind of, that feeling and that energy, they let it go away. And I think that for those who haven't dealt with things, my first memory of racial injustice was 4 years old, waking up to my mother screaming because we had a cross burned in our front yard in Pasadena. And that was, some guys that didn't like that my parents were the first interracial couple in the neighborhood. And then, being 8 years old and reaching into my mother's purse in the bank and having the security guards tackle me. And being 15 years old and having guys, skinheads, shoot at me at my back as I was running through a field. Being 19 years old, being arrested and thrown in jail for obstructing justice, basically asking a question to some policemen. And then, on and on until just recently moving into my house and having my next door neighbors call the police the first day I was moving in, as I was outside hammering a window to fix a window. And I think that we put these things somewhere, we move on. Sometimes they come out in songs, but when at times when it feels like everybody's on board, I feel like that's the time to speak up. And so that's what I did. And I wanted to really speak to the folks that conveniently fight for things, and then when it's inconvenient, they let go of it. And that's what that song is about. It's a little, not really a history lesson, but just saying that this has been happening a long time to a lot of people, and I feel lucky to even be here celebrating a birthday tomorrow. And a lot of people can't say that.
Well, happy birthday for tomorrow, first of all. And anybody who's watching who wants to check this out, just hit the Google. It's been burning for a while is the song. And it's a song written for the moment and in the moment. And I think it's really crucial. And I think everything you're saying is really important. Pulling it back around to how you as an artist support yourself today. Again, we talked about TV work. I know you had a song in This Is Us, which is, one of the biggest TV shows in the States in the last year or two. How are you managing as an independent artist at this moment in time to continue to create and to support yourself?
Yeah, Josh and I were talking about earlier. It's I think a lot of musicians became overnight virtual audio engineers. I went from not hardly doing anything online as far as live shows or anything like that to overnight just kind of learning and pulling all my resources. I feel like a lot of musicians have been reaching out to each other. It's like, how do you set this up? How do you make it sound good? A buddy of mine in Vermont sold me a camera to put on the top of my video camera. It's like, I think everybody's been kind of pulling it together to figure it out. And so what I've been doing is I've been just putting out a bunch of stuff on different platforms. I think that there's been a little momentum as I've been asked to participate in different things because of that and just being visible. I've also put out and offered kind of, hustling as always, just special occasion stuff for personal occasions. And I did an intervention last night in person in the Valley for a family in a backyard, socially distanced. I played some music and did a chat with them. I've been giving voice lessons to kids and adults. It started out with just wanting to give the class of 2020 like a free lesson, and it kind of blossomed into me getting a lot of emails about voice lessons. So I've been doing those on Mondays and Fridays. I've been doing really all that I can to just keep moving. And I feel like that's what I've always done. So it's not a huge change. You know, as they say, the hustle is real. You know, I've been doing it for a long time. My last kind of real job, I was a bouncer at an Irish pub on Sunset Boulevard. And I always told myself I never want to go back to doing that job. So
your story is you know, it's unique to you, obviously, from your own perspective, but the story of the hustle of the creator is it's an age-old story, isn't it? I mean, it goes back, you know, hundreds of years to, you know, painters, and it sort of worked its way through to all the various ways that artists express themselves, be they be writers, songwriters, dancers, actors. If you live in Los Angeles long enough, you know a couple of hundred people who have that story or a version of that story. And it's interesting because I do a radio show in the morning, and then I hustle all afternoon as well. So I feel like for creatives, to a certain extent, this really isn't that different.
Right.
Apart from the fact, perhaps, Josh, that you can't go out on tour. But artists spend a lot of time sitting alone, creating and trying to figure out what's next. So if I could bring, we've got a couple of minutes left, maybe I could get all three of you to just comment on this. Josh, again, who puts out music under the name Mondo Cozmo with a Z. Check it out, hit the Google or the Bing, wherever you do your searches. How do you see yourself moving through the next 6 months? Because I don't think you're going on tour anytime soon.
No, I don't think so. I've just honestly, man, I've just been trying to like keep sane and keep like a pretty diligent regimen every day. You know, I wake up and I write. I seem to write the best in the morning, so I just go until I got nothing, and then I just try to, you know, hang out with the wife, watch Netflix, cook a brisket, you know, just try to be with the dog. And you know, it's really just about trying to stay sane right now, because like you said, we're all hustling. I mean, geez, I'm writing hand typed letters on a 1962 typewriter. You know what I mean? Like, please.
Yeah, it looks really cool on Instagram, but here's the truth.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be happy to go back to landscaping right now if it, you know, I just want to work, you know. I think like all three of us, we just like to work, you know. But yeah.
Gizzle, can you speak to that at all? You know, as you see, obviously you have things going on, but how do you see the immediate future for you as an artist?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's just getting, like I said, just really fine tuning the message and getting the music out here. I definitely love what Josh is doing, and, you know, developing my marketing skills. Like, I'm taking a few courses. And I think, you know, for me, that's just the major key that's missing, and the most important thing, especially when you're independent and there's no machine behind you. Of course, you can get certain looks, which are easier through syncs and licenses and stuff like that. And if you're able to gain visibility on the streaming platforms, but it's about being able to capitalize on those looks. So I'm just like working on that and developing that with my team, you know, just what our marketing plan is going to be. And I think going forward, that's going to really help just get the music more to a forefront, and exploring different things like merch. I haven't really dived so far into that aspect of it, but you know, I think I will, you know, this time around. Actually, well, you guys can't see me, but I have on one of my shirts for one of my organizations called Zen Thug. It's a really cool thing. It's completely different from the music, but it's dedicated to spiritual development and mental health awareness. And it's just a healing event that we do quarterly in Los Angeles and now in Atlanta. And so I'm just going to develop that more too. It's a good time to kind of work on that. Like I said, it's good to diversify and keep the music going. I'm gonna just stay in the studio.
It would seem like that this is an opportunity, obviously, for all of us to try and perhaps be a little more multidimensional, not just in how we function as artists or creatives, but also how we look at the world, and perhaps see the world in a bit of a through a different lens, you know, a bigger picture. You know, we all get so myopic in our day-to-day operations of just being a normal, functioning human being trying to make a living. But, you know, we all have a little bit more time to think. And, you know, I don't know about you guys, but for me, I need to think outside of my head, because if it's all in here, it's probably not very good. For me personally, I'm fortunate that I have somebody in my life who I live with and we get along, which is great. Can't imagine what it would be like living with somebody who you weren't getting along with right now. But if I could bring it back to the entrepreneur side of this, perhaps for Chris, as we get ready to wrap this up, you know, talking about merch, talking about super serving the fan base that you have. I mean, you've said you'll take voice lessons, you'll go out and do private gigs, and you're also making music under War and Pierce. You've got another project. Can you tell us about it real quick?
Yeah, Warren Pierce is a duo with Sonny War, the great artist named Sonny War, who's a young guitar player. She played, you know, all over, and she has an incredible story and is very experienced in her young years. And a producer named Jared Faber got us together, and the three of us have been creating music under Warren Pierce for the past few years. And it's a song that we wrote called Amen. It's been getting some radio play and some love over the past, you know, week or so, couple weeks. And that's really good. And we've played a few shows together and some festivals together. You know, hopefully we'll have an opportunity to build on a little bit of the radio momentum and get out there in 21.
Well, listen, first of all, I want to thank all three of you, because I think of all three of you as personal friends. And I respect you all as artists, but more importantly, as, you know, authentic human beings who speak their truth. And I felt that way last year, not just in the last 3 months, you know, and I just feel like those of us who are going to make it through this are the people who are going to be true to ourselves and the people around us, and to, you know, as I said, just tell the truth, you know, whatever that is. And I wish you, all three of you, you know, the best for the coming months, creatively and personally. And thank you. It's been a pleasure hanging out with you guys.
Thank you guys, Josh, Chris.
Nice meeting you. Happy birthday, Chris.
Happy birthday, man.
Hey, happy birthday, Chris.